Okay, in this video, I'm going to walk you through just using the board as a standalone board. Unless you're going to show videos, this is the way I prefer to use the board anyway. And some videos may work when you find out how to use this internet browser. So this is the home screen. If you don't see this, you might need to go to Source and hit Home. All right, again, there's that QR code that has all the tutorials and everything from the Knox County website. The first thing I'm going to show is the unified menu. That's that bar that you can access from either side or the bottom. And it has, what do they call it? The classroom essentials, which are these right here: whiteboard, capture, annotate, screen share. Those are what we would call your classroom essentials. So I'm going to walk through a couple of those things. Screen share I won't walk through now. That's a separate video tutorial. All right, so first is linking your Google account. So if you click Owner and then the little cloud, this will pull up your Google account. You can see I already have my County one populated up here. If you don't share a room with anybody, you can just leave yours always signed in. Just know that if anyone turns on the computer, they'll have access, or the panel, they'll have access to your entire Google Drive. So if it were me, every day when I got here, I would link my account, and every day when I left, I would unlink it. And to do that, you just hit the little gear icon and hit Remove Account. Probably gonna freak it out here. Oh, let me get out of here. Home. So again, Owner, little cloud, hit the little gear icon, Remove Account, remove. That's what I would do. And so then in the morning, I hit Google Drive, and I type in my email address. And again, I would do this before students get there. knoxschools.org, and then type in your password. Ron is awesome. Super strong password there. All right, then once this pops up, all you'll need to do is scroll and hit Allow. And now my Google account is right there, and so I can access it. This will make saving things that I show you in a little bit really easy. And again, if you click it, it'll give you access to your Google Drive. So I can do things like pull up a PDF that I have on there. There. And so there's my PDF that I already have up there, right? So you can access things that are on your Google Drive really easily. All right, so now that we've got our cloud linked, the next thing I'm going to show you is the whiteboard. This is a fantastic app. All right, so you've got, what did I do with the pen? There you go. Over here on the left, and you can move this toolbar wherever you want by just changing the toolbar position. So just put it over on the right or over on the left. Right, and so these different tools, you have a pen that has different colors. Right, and the thing with the whiteboard app is that essentially it turns your writing into images. Right, so if I select my arrow, now I can move my images. Now you see how they all move together? That is because I wrote those all within 3 seconds. So here's what I mean by that. If I write BHS is great, because I didn't stop using my pen for more than 3 seconds, it will count that as one image and move BHS is great all together. The cool thing about that is I can resize it and rotate it. I can make it smaller. I can move its location. I can do a lot of cool stuff with it. Now, I can then employ the 3-second rule. So let's say I say FHS is, and then I'm going to think about it because I don't want to say something that could get me in trouble. And so I'm just going to say okay-ish, right? That's like PC enough. The difference is now, because I lifted my pen, it's going to keep FHS is together and okay is separate because there was that pause. And so I can make this bigger, delete okayish, and just delete FHS altogether. So you can delete items. There's also a couple of really cool tools. There's, so I just cleared everything. There's some different protractors and compasses and rulers. So this is nice because I can use this as a straight edge and draw, you know, a line that's 3 inches long. I can get rid of that and add just another ruler. And so you can draw a line and teach your kids to measure this line. Yeah, looks like it's about 3 inches, right? You can draw pie charts and things using a circle, right? I can take this over here and I can go, you know, a quarter of that circle. So I can make a 25% piece of the pie. All kinds of different math tools. There are all kinds of different backgrounds, charts and templates. You can use periodic table. You can throw that in there, and so now you can interact with that. You can do, you know, like a 4x4 table. That way you can annotate in it. And let's say I want to move it and kind of put it over here and put my periodic table. Oops, I didn't want to rotate it. I want to put it over here. That way I can, you know, do some sort of chart with science. I don't know, science stuff, symbols and carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, I don't know. But you can make a table, and that just makes it, you know, very valuable. You can add your own templates. There's timelines, there's charts, bubbles. You can make one and import it from a gallery. There are different types of backgrounds, like a lined piece of paper background. So I'm going to select this. No, come give me my arrow. And delete my periodic table, delete that table, delete this pie chart, and erase all these other lines. And so now I have chart paper so I can practice writing. Right? Again, then you can select that and delete it. If you use your fingers, you have to select and select pen. If you just use the pen, it's going to write. And if you flip it over, I guess you still have to select eraser. You have to erase. Now, if you're using your hands, it's multi-touch, right? So I have 5 points of contact there, so I had 5 lines. If I go 10 points of contact, right? And again, that's one single entity, right? And so I can delete that entity. So very, very powerful thing. One last thing I can show you here on the board itself is you can split it. And so now you can see I have 2. So you can have one student working over here and one working over here. So I got blue and I've got red. And so that allows students to be up here simultaneously. That's pretty cool. You can turn that off and back on at any time. You can save work at any time. When you go to save, you can save internally, which I wouldn't recommend, or you can save to your Google Drive. Choose where to save it, give it a name, and it'll save. And so now I'll have this whiteboard file that I can pull up in a different class. So if I teach math in one class, we do some stuff on the whiteboard. I want to show my math in my second class, but it's in a different room. I can open this whiteboard file later. I just hit open, and there's that whiteboard file that I created. I can, how do I go back here? Back into the whiteboard. I can export the entire canvas as a PDF. And so what that means is if I move this stuff over here, it's out of the way, but it's still on the canvas. So up here in the top right, you can see the canvas. And so I can move and come over here and do more writing. And if I save the entire canvas, or I'm sorry, if I export the entire canvas, it's going to take everything. I can save it to the device, or I can export it somewhere else. If I want to export the PDF screenshot, then it's only going to save what is physically showing on the screen at this point in time. Okay, so that is the whiteboard. Pretty powerful. I'm already at 10 minutes. I'm just going to quickly show the other thing that you can do, 2 or 3 things in one. The internet is called Chromium. It is in my recent apps. If it's not in your recent apps, you can go to your locker and go to Chromium. This is the internet for the Promethean panels. So once it pulls up, right? So here is where you can sign in with your Google Drive and pull up, a Google slideshow, and you can run through that. You can use the remote when you are doing that. And so the remote will actually advance it, which is pretty cool. All right, hit the X here, pull back up Chromium. Oop, I exited out. You can go to your favorite streaming source. I'm probably not going to be signed in, so I won't be able to show you this example, but you could sign into your Netflix and show a video this way. So this is a way that you can use all of those streaming sites that you want to use without having to physically tether into your computer. Right? The cool thing, or another cool thing about the Chromium, you can make it full screen, is you can find an image or something you want to use and use the annotate classroom feature. So when you hit annotate, it's going to pull up an annotation toolbar that you can employ right over images that you find online. You can annotate, and then you can clear it. You can annotate, hide those annotations, or once you have things annotated the way you want, you can take a screenshot of that annotation, crop it, and then choose what to do with it. You can close it, or you can open it in your whiteboard, and now you can further add to it, or you can save it somewhere, right? And so that allows you to essentially take anything from the internet and capture it, right? So you can annotate over it, or you can just literally use the capture and get that screenshot. And so now, like, let's see, what is something I can Google real quick? So, oh, not goggle. So let's say I want to look at a flow chart. And I don't really have time to make one, so I'm just going to see what Google has, look at images, and I like this flow chart right here, so I click it, and I'm going to hit capture. I'm going to crop just the flow chart. I'm going to open it in my whiteboard, and now I'm going to make that bigger. And now I'm going to annotate it and work with it. So pretty cool stuff you can do here. Again, basically making anything that you can find on the internet, any document you can capture, annotate, and implement into your classroom. All right, and so those are pretty cool functions on the standalone. The last thing I'll show you, and because my video is right at 15 minutes, but I just have to show you because it's so cool, you can split screen this thing, right? So I can split screen it left, and so that's going to put my whiteboard over here on the left, and my Chromium here on the right. And so now I can pull up, so there's my Chromium, and then I can pull up my whiteboard and put it on the right. And so now I've got my whiteboard over here, I've got my Chromium over here, and I can essentially use both at the same time. So I can interact with the internet, I can draw on my whiteboard, you can do some crazy cool stuff right here, right? So you can, in theory, have one student in class running through a slideshow presentation over here, while another student in class is taking questions that students have in a live fashion. So that split screen is really cool. You just tell where you want Chromium to go. If I want Chromium to go over to the right, it'll go there. I can pop up my whiteboard app and send it to the left. And so now I have them both again, but just flipped. So again, I'm ready to be done with the whiteboard. I can minimize it and just have that half. I can pull the whiteboard back up. It'll go right back to there. I can close it. This is all stuff that the more you play with this will be more familiar to you, and that's why we'll have the more advanced trainings. But that's the standalone board. If I were going to be a classroom teacher again, I would only use the board in standalone fashion. It has everything you need to do. Being that you can link it to Google Drive, it makes it to where you have access to everything you need. Now, if you're someone who uses a lot of PowerPoints, you might gonna have to hook up your computer like you used to. But screen sharing will be the next video tutorial. Remember, owner, cloud, remove before you leave. That way the next person coming into your class doesn't have access to all your stuff.